All right, quick JavaScript review. Let's talk about, okay, so let's review some of the data types in JavaScript. What is a string? What is a string? Just calling someone. Karen, what's a string? Yep, text. That's how we deal with text. So I can make a string in 3 different ways. One is with single quotes. What are the other ones? What are the other 2? Double quotes and backticks. When do I use backticks?
You want to format it with other variables or expressions.
So, oops. If I want to interpolate, or put a variable in, then I'm going to use backticks. By and large, otherwise you're going to use single quotes, and that's just kind of a convention thing. Double quotes are nice if I have like if I need to use an apostrophe, right? Otherwise, that'll mess up my string. Cool. So those are strings. What is the difference between an integer and a float? What's up, Bobby? Yeah. So which one is which? Absolutely. So integers are whole numbers, and floats are with decimal points. Cool. What happens if I do what is that going to equal?
99.
The string 99, right? So I really want to be careful about knowing what data type I have. The string 9 is completely different as far as JavaScript is concerned than the integer 9. If I change these both to integers, what do I get? Yes, exactly. Thank you. Cool. So that's strings, floats. What is a Boolean? True or false is Boolean. So true, true, false. And you can see my text editor is going to change these to blue because it recognizes them as protected words in JavaScript. JavaScript recognizes those as true or false. Have we seen this before? What is that? Like, I mean, what does it mean? Yeah, exactly. It means the variable has no value. And so in JavaScript, we can do like let name and then just move on, right? So we can declare it, but like give it no value. And in that case, it will be undefined. How is that different from this? What is null? Doesn't exist. Yeah, undefined is more like it doesn't exist. Null is, yeah, it's nothing. And I remember this, like, for some reason being hard for me to grasp in the beginning, but it's different than 0. 0 is an actual value, right? It represents, like, I can have 0 of something. Null is like the void, like empty, like an empty box. That's null, right? And it's different than undefined. Null is a value, and that value is empty, basically. Yeah. What else do we got? Those are those. Cool. What's an array? Yeah, so let's make one. Const nums equals brackets, and then let's do 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so yeah, so an array is a list of values, and I can access those values how? By index, right? So those are the 2 main things about an array. It's a list, and I access it by index, and it starts with what? 0, right? I index it by 0, so it starts with 0. So if I wanted to print the number 4, what would I type in my console log here? Nums what? 0, right? Cool. What's next? Objects. Go for it.
So say, so I was having this problem a little bit ago with like JavaScript. Like I was trying to set a value of like 50 string, and like I would access, like I was trying to access the index of that string. So I'll be like string at 0 equals, you know, whatever at 0, you know, and it would not copy what I was trying to copy into my string. Like I would have to attack it, whatever it plus, and like I'll play it always using. You think?
I'm not sure. So if I had like, I can't do it with constant. Or can I don't know.
You're trying to take a string and then like take index 0 the first letter and copy that to a variable.
Yeah. So my string equals hello. Now let str equals the empty string.
Oops. Okay.
Now, let's try to set str at 0, like bracket 0 is equal to my string.
Whoa, what the hell is that?
At 3.
If this doesn't work, I'm just tell you right now, I don't really know exactly off the top of my head why. Let's see. Oh, we have to. So then let's console log my string or string str. Yeah, that's not happening.
Because they don't have it doesn't have an index 0.
It has to have an index 0.
It's probably because it's empty.
Take out the bracket 0, and it'll make a new string of
Strings are
character, and that'll work.
strings are primitives still, right? So even though you can use some methods on them, they can't be manipulated like arrays. They're the same way.
Well, they can, but
Right.
an empty one can't. So that's
Yeah, you can access strings by index, I believe. Yeah.
See, now it adds it because.
So there was no index 0, so it couldn't do it, but now it's doing it. Okay.
And then you modify the index.
Yeah, guys, real quick before I abscond with the gym pass, does anyone work out during lunch? All right.
No, you're good, man.
I've had it this morning. Yep.
Cool. Other questions before we move on? All right, objects. Objects, the way we're just going to talk about them right now, are key value pairs, right? So it's a way to keep track of key value pairs. So we might have like, let's do. Cool. How do I act? I want to print the city. Should do it. Cool. I can also do brackets. I think I have to pass it a string. And that'll work as well. Cool. I can also so I have, and you want to be careful because sometimes if I have I can make these, the keys can be strings. And then this will be a fun. I don't know if dot will work. Find out. Oh, it still will. Okay, never mind. But these can be strings as well. Cool. Questions about that? Cool. Let's just burn through the rest of this. I just want to make sure we're all on the same. Okay. Go ahead. No, ask the question. All right. So now I want to just really quick, I want to talk about the different operators that we have. So we have like plus, minus, divide. What is this one? Modulus. And what does that do? Gives me my remainder, right?
So if you do like 11 modulus 2, it will give you 1 because after division, you'll have 1.
Let's do that. Here we go. Cool. So it'll give me the remainder. Whereas if I divide, it'll give me a float. Cool. Let's see.
Can we do a modulus with the division so that it's like it'll say like 5 and 1, like it'll give you the
think you would have to do them separately. I don't think you can do both at the same
Just
time.
wondering.
What is this?
It's equality, but also by value and type.
Yep. So what is this going to return? True, right? So whenever we do like a comparison, what we're ultimately going to get is a Boolean value, right? Just mess with a couple of these. Cool. So we get true for that one. This one will give us false because they're not exact, right? They're not completely equal. What is this?
True.
Not equal. So it will return true, right? Because these are not equal. If I put this here, whoops, not that. If I put this here, it will return false, right? Cool. Let's do.
When would you use one equals?
Yeah, so one equal like this is assignment. That's always going to be I want to assign a variable. Two is, what is two in JavaScript? It's like a shallow equal, right?
Yeah.
Like a string number will equal an integer.
Right.
Yeah.
By and large in JavaScript, use 3. Right? Use 3. Rarely are you going to want to. You're usually going to want to check for
Just null for 1%.
Yes, exactly. If I console log, let's get a little bit of this. What is this going to print?
Also true.
True. Why? Can someone talk us through why?
The first statement's true, and we need one more state. It represents or.
Yep.
So if either one of the comparisons are true.
Absolutely. So these are called the pipes. So we have double pipes. That's or. And so if we read this like kind of as English, we would say hello equals hello, or 1 is less than 0.5. Only one side has to be true for the whole thing to be true. Go ahead.
Just
Right.
JavaScript source circuit for like this expression, for example, will it not even evaluate the right side if the left side is true with the or?
That is my understanding. Yeah, that is my understanding of it. Python for sure.
Yeah.
I just don't know for sure with JavaScript, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah. So like if it reads hello is equal to hello, it won't even read the other side of it. Which is a good thing to know because that can screw you up in some cases.
Can you have multiple conditions in them? Like you have two right now. I'm saying you have 3.
Yep. I can string these together.
So you can. Yeah, something I had a problem with that as well. Like I would use parentheses.
There's an order to how it reads expressions,
By the order of evaluation by the operators is like a hierarchy.
Yeah.
So if you don't use parentheses to kind of like elevate what you're trying to do, then it'll evaluate something before others if you just string along like that after 2. So you gotta be very careful.
What is this going to return? Do I even remember in JavaScript? I'm pretty sure it's because that's and, right? So when I have and, both sides need to be true, otherwise I get false. Cool. I just wanted to see it for myself. Okay, and then so we saw greater than. We have so we have less than. There you go. Greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, and then like we said, we had equals and bang equals. Am I missing any? These are all my comparisons that I can use, right? And they will always return a bool.
Yeah, there's well actually bitwise, are they other those?
What is
Bitwise
that?
operator? Like a single or
I am not aware. That might exist in JavaScript, but I don't know.
32 is not equal to or greater than.
Is not equal to, or so you can't do 2 at once. So if I wanted to say like 5 is not equal to 7, and then you want to say like or 5. What was it? You said or greater than? Or I would have to do it again. I would have to say or 5 is less than whatever.
Or could you do exclamation points, parentheses,
Yes.
5 greater than or equal to?
I'm pretty sure this will work too. So the bang will always reverse whatever, right? If something is true, bang will turn it to false, other way around, right? Cool? Let's see. I only have a couple more. Just bear with me. Cool. Functions. So this might be a little bit new to people. So you probably, oh, sorry, real quick, I want to talk about assigning variables. So I know that in some of our pre-work, you were probably using var a lot. And this was kind of the old way, maybe not. Var, you will see in older JavaScript, this was the only way to make a variable. So var name equals Josh. I can't spell my own name. But there have been updates to JavaScript in the last few years. You're going to hear this a lot, ES6, ES6. This was this huge update to JavaScript. And we'll go over kind of the history of JavaScript, which is a little bit interesting and also good to know later. But ES6 was this huge update, and it introduced var still works, but by and large, you don't want to use it. Instead, you want to use const or let. So what is the difference between const and let? There's a couple, but what's the main difference? Yep, exactly. That's the biggest one. So const, we would use like pi, we wouldn't want to change, right? Because that's always going to be 3.14. Let, like age equal, 88 or whatever. This might change, right? So we can change these. Also with const, so remember we were talking about like I can declare a variable and not give it a value. If I need to do that, sometimes I'm going to need to do that. I'm going to have to do it with let. I can't do that with const. When I declare a const variable, I need to give it a value. And that value can't change. If I try to change it, it'll blow up back. Okay. Okay, last thing, functions. You might have seen function. We're going to make a function that adds 2 numbers together. Add 2, and we'll just give it, we'll just do x and y, even though that's not the best. And we'll say return x plus y. Cool. This is one way to declare a function. We can declare that exact same function. The more ES60 way to do it is const add 2 equals, and then we have fat arrow functions. Have we seen these before? X, Y. I make this fat arrow, then I declare my block with the brackets, and then it's the same thing. Return x plus y. These are basically the same, and I can call them the same. But I think by and large, let's try to do it this way. This is how. Once we get into React, a lot of like React people are doing it this way, and we're going to be doing React, and this is just the way I'm seeing it more and more get done.
So you go to the second part because I was noticing like when you like for the for each method, like it has like that kind of structure. It has like element with that like arrow brick whatever.
So you're talking about like if I had. I'm going to go over this a little bit more tomorrow, but we'll touch on it real quick. So I'm going to make an array with some numbers in it. And then I want to like, so I can loop through it with a for loop, but there's also for each. Is that what you're talking about? So I do a dot for each. So for each is going to loop. It's going to access each thing in the loop, but I need to, what I'm doing is I'm passing it a function. And I'm giving it an arrow function. I'm giving it like an anonymous function, right? So I'm passing it as an argument. It takes a function, and that function needs to take in the element. So that's going to be like the first time it'll be 1, then it'll be 2, then it'll be 3. And that's actually all it needs. It can also take in the index, and I think it can also even take in the array. But let's just do with these. So I'm doing like that. Oh, nope, missed something. Cool. So what I'm saying here is I'm calling a function called for each, and as an argument, I'm passing it another function, right? And it's basically, that's the function I want it to run on every single thing in the array. So run this function on 1, run it on 2, run it on 3. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, and what does that equal?
Arrow?
Yeah.
It's just syntax that says, these are my parameters. Then you put that arrow, here's my block of code.
Oh.
It's just the syntax for it. It's not like performing anything. Yeah.
It kind of replaces the word function.
Yes.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, it basically replaces the word function. Yes, exactly.
Constant is completely immutable, right? It's like, it's just the variable can be reassigned. Like,
Yeah, so-
completely.
So are you saying like if I have an array assigned to const, I can push stuff into the array, I can pull stuff out of the array, but I can't assign it to a string. Or I can't overwrite it with a new array. Is that what you're asking? Yeah. True. Yes, that is true.
And then let, it's different from var is has to do with scope, right?
Yep. It's a scoping thing. And it's like var is scoped to the function, let is scoped to the block. I'm about 50% sure that's true. But I'd have to look it up. Do we know what we mean by scope? That's actually a good thing to go over real quick. What's scope? What's scope? What do we talk about when we talk about scope?
I guess wherever you can access the variable.
That's great. That's a perfect definition of it. It's like, where is this variable accessible? Yeah. Narayan, do you have a question?
No, I was going to say it's just basically if something lives, exists. Basically,
Yeah, where you can get it. Cool. That's most of what I wanted to go over right now. Tomorrow we'll do some Python fundamentals, so we'll hit that again, and then we'll talk a little bit more about loops and if statements as well, and conditional statements.
Do you run this in its box?
Run what?
What's that? What is that function?
Oh, for each is it basically does a for loop. It just loops through the array and accesses each thing for me. It's again a new thing in JavaScript. The old way of doing it.
Can you console.log?
Can I? You want to see this?
Yeah.
Okay, let's watch it run. Console.log.
Element plus 1 or
Yeah, let's. Wait here. Why don't we just? Do you want to just see what those values look like? Because we can interpolate them.
Yeah.
Element. Cool. So does this make sense? What we're doing here? Let's run it and then we can. Cool. So it's going to run. So what for each will do is whatever function I pass it, it will run that function for each thing in the array. So the first time it ran my function that I passed, which is just console.log. It gave me 1, which was at index 0, 2, which is at index 1, and so on. Does that answer your question? Ryan? Or who asked me to run it?
I think it clarifies a lot more. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying, did it work? Did it clarify it? Okay, cool.
If you took off on console.log, then it would just run the element.
Yeah. So the element, I have to put something here. And I can call this anything I want. I wanted to change it to anything. It's just the value of it will always be what's in the array. But you can name it whatever you want. Yeah. I would name it like what it is. So actually here, probably I would just put num. Like it's going to be a number. And so I would call it num. And then if we didn't want the index, that's optional. I can get rid of that, but then I could leave it there and just not use it, but then I can get rid of it.
Yeah, that was my question.
Yes, and we can do this, and then I'll give it.
So if you just wanted to get the index,
You have to put the element first.
you have to have the element.
Yeah, they have to be in that order. You could just put the element there and not use it,
Okay.
but you have to put them in that order.
So Josh, if you left like next to num, you left index, and then ran it.
And then it'll still work.
It'll still run.
Yep.
But it's bad.
Yeah, but you don't want to put anything here that you're not using.
Hey, you got something. Use it.
Yeah.
Why are you even bringing it up?
Now, is it acceptable to do that if you were trying to get the index, but you had that?
Yeah.
Could you be
So say I only want we are way off topic, but whatever. Okay, I will indulge this for 5 more minutes, but then we're done, okay? I mean, these are good questions, but it's never ending. Okay, so this is a good. So Hank, right, is asking. Say I just want my indexes. So in this case, I still need to put num here, and I'm pretty sure the convention, if I have a variable that I'm not using, is to put an underscore in front of it. And this is JavaScript does not give a shit about, does not care about this, but it's visual for other people reading your code. When you see this, it's like, hey, I had to put this here, but I'm not using it, and then I can change and just use index and run this, and it'll print out all my. I know it says element, but it's printing all my indexes, and I just put an underscore. Cool. Is there one last kind of on topic but not quite on topic question?
Why do you have to use? Why do you have to have that?
Because
It's a required argument for that.
yeah, and it's so sometimes we'll have arguments that are like named, and then we'll have arguments that are order dependent. So it always is going to put the element at the first this first spot, and it's always going to put index here. No matter what I call these, it's going to be. So in order for me to get to index, I got to put something in that first slot. Otherwise, it won't do the second.
That's only for each, right?
Not for a for loop. For loop is much more. You can do whatever you can do whatever you want. Yeah, that's different, and we'll review that tomorrow. Loops and stuff like that. Yes, Ryan.
Does JavaScript support keywords as far as the parameters like Python?
Keywords.
Like
Oh yeah, I don't know actually. That's a good question. I think the way it usually handles that is it expects an object, and then the object will have it, and then in your function, you can expect keywords. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know if you can just do straight up keywords like Python. I don't think so. Whew. Okay. Stop here.